What's up everybody, I'm Mitch. This is the Fit for Moto YouTube channel. Thank you for checking out another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you a tool that I came across on social media that makes it really easy, not just to check your chain tension, but if it's a little loose or a little tight, to nail it on your adjustment every single time to get the most life out of your chain and sprockets that you possibly can. Roll the intro and let's get into it. All right, now in my era, you grew up one of two ways. Either you'd chuck the old 2 fingers in there, and if the chain fit between your fingers and the slider, that was pretty close to enough tension for what you needed, but definitely not exact to get the most life you can out of your stuff. And the other option was, of course, to have your owner's manual, have a tape measure, and actually measure this thing out every single time. And that's great for checking the slack to see where you're at. But if you need to tighten it a little bit, or maybe you need to loosen it because you installed some new sprockets and stuff, well then this tape measure, having to adjust it and then go back and check this again and adjust it and stuff, really can be a pain in the butt. So there is a tool that I found. It's a BPA Racing Chain Slack Adjuster tool. Really handy, not that expensive. Found it on social media. I'll put a link below on where you can get one. But let's talk about how this thing works. So the first thing that you need to do with this thing is calibrate it. And I know that sounds like some work, but it's actually really not. All you need to do is go to your OEM owner's manual, or if you don't have an owner's manual, look it up on Google. You can always find the where your chain tension is supposed to be. Now for this particular bike, it's telling me that my chain tension should be between 2.5 and 2 3/4 inches for this Honda CRF 450R. So here's what you do, is you get the chain tension set exactly where you need to according to the owner's manufacturer, the specs, so you know that that tension's really good. And then you're gonna wanna chuck this tool onto the chain itself. It's really easy to put on. There's a couple little forks here that stick out. Just put those over your chain. And then there's a red handle here. Just turn that handle up so that the other end of that red handle sits on top of the chain. So now this thing is kind of parallel with the chain or sitting right on it. Now on the other side of it, you're gonna notice that there's some marks here. There's a little mark to show that the chain is too loose, and there's a little mark to show that the chain is too tight. And then right in the middle, you guessed it, that is the sweet spot. So you really just wanna have to line those 2 marks up. Now, if you've got your chain tensioned exactly how it should be, as per the specs, chuck this thing on. You just wanna make sure that those are lined right up. And this thing actually does come with a couple tools to help you do that. So it comes with a little Allen key and a little wrench. So you just loosen off the middle bolt there, use a little wrench to turn it so those lines are right lined up, showing you that your chain is at the right tension, and then tighten that bolt down again. Now that is all it takes to calibrate this little tool. But here's where I find it gets really handy. If your chain is out of adjustment, okay, so let's say you've done some riding, you're just doing your routine maintenance, every time you do an air filter, check your spokes, whatever, chuck this baby onto your chain, see where it's sitting as far as being right on the money. If it's too loose or it's too tight, then you're gonna need a bit of an adjustment. Now here's the really cool part. When you chuck this thing on, let's say that the chain is too tight, right? So chain's too tight, you're like, okay, I need to back it off. Those little lines are gonna show you that it's a little too much on the tight side. So the same way that you would always loosen or tighten your chain, loosen off your axle nut, just adjust your adjusters a little bit, and then wait for these things to line right up. You're right on the money. Tighten up your adjusters, tighten up your axle nut again, boom, chain is done. Same thing goes for if it's too slack. It's really that easy. Chuck this thing on, loosen off your axle nut, hit your chain adjusters a little bit until this thing is lined up because you calibrated it, right, as per the OEM specs. Bob's your uncle, man. Chain is set. Super handy tool, not that expensive. I will put a link, so shout out to these guys. Like I say, I just came across this thing on social media and I thought, hey, that's a really good idea. Other people might find that super handy too. So I use this thing all the time. Every time I do any sort of maintenance on my bike, which is after every single ride, I chuck this thing on quick, check the tension. Comes in a little box, comes with really easy instructions on how to use it, how to calibrate it, all that kind of stuff. So if something in this video is not quite clear to you, the instructions are right on the box, no big deal. It does come with the little tools that I mentioned, little wrench, little Allen key, and it comes with a neat little case that you can carry it in and chuck it in your toolbox. So for me, just a really cool tool. I hope that helps you, because I know for me, you're always like, hey, is it a little too loose? Is it a little too tight? I don't really know. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to get your owner's manual out every time or get the tape measure and check it. And even if it is in spec, that's fine. But then when you have to adjust it, it's a pain in the butt to keep having to go back and back and back. Chuck this baby on there, get those things lined up. Once you have it calibrated, boom. Chain is adjusted. I hope that helps. If so, hit subscribe for me. You know I appreciate all the love on this channel. I really do it just because I really love it. Hit iRideSupplements.com if you're digging the merch. You can get yourself some hats, some shirts, all that kind of stuff, and some products that will help you stay fitter, faster on the bike. So that's it, man. I hope you liked the video. I'll put a link where I found this thing below, and you can get yourself one. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.